We constantly talk about the need to develop small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, in order to help realize double-digit growth. Imagine you have a great product and a loyal customer base. How do you take it to the next level? Our guest today has been doing something that many people dream of, but few achieve. By returning home to Jamaica and starting a successful business, she previously worked in Hollywood doing marketing, music production, and finance, but chose to return home after getting experience in the United States. In 2005, she decided to start a bottled spring water company in Buff Bay, Portland. She made the first 100 cases herself, along with her partners, her husband, and his brother. They loaded them up in 2 pickup trucks and drove to Port Antonio. Have you guessed it? Our guest today is Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Water. Nyana, welcome to Business Live Extra.
Thank you, Mark.
It's great to have you.
Here.
Yeah.
Great to be here.
With social distancing, always on Business Live Extra, we shake hands.
Yeah.
We can't do that today.
No, we can't.
But we can get up an elbow bump.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome.
It's great having you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, tell us about yourself. We know they always say, and it's a bit cheesy, but they always say it's totally and very hard, being a female CEO, being a firebrand or a fire starter, if you have to be, in corporate Jamaica or globally. What's it like being Nyana and growing this, some would say iconic brand. I love the brand, Lifespan in Jamaica so far.
All right. So I am Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Company Limited, producer of Lifespan Spring Water, which is a naturally alkaline spring water. Mm-hmm. And I'm also a mother of 2 children. My daughter Elizabeth, who is a special child, and my son Milan. He's 16 years old, so he's still in high school. And I am a wife. So that's Nyana Williams.
Mm-hmm. So you have a great Mother's Day.
I did.
Yes.
Spending time with my kids. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And how did you get here to you're corporate, you're a CEO. Take us back. Where did you start from?
I have gone through a whole lot of experiences in different industries, starting out in printing, fashion, entertainment. And then my husband wanted to come home because, I went to school in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there for a while. I came back to Jamaica, and then I went back. And then, my husband said, you know what, we need to move back to Jamaica. So I just had my son.
Yes.
And we came back to Jamaica, and we moved to Portland, where my husband is originally from. I am originally from St. Mary. And, there's no industry in Portland. There's absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there. I mean, it's nice and natural and beautiful, and that's what I love about Portland. And that's what I was looking for as well. But then, that the other part is the industry. What kind of career can I pursue in Portland?
In Portland,
yeah. So there was actually nowhere to get a job. So I had to create one for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically it. I did a whole lot of research. I wrote a business plan, and then I pitched it to my husband, who bought into it right away.
and you've provided a lot of jobs in Portland, since that time.
Right. So, yeah.
Okay. And would you say just overall, are there, not SMEs, but, Lifespan has really grown now, into its own. Are there a lot of, mid-size or large companies in Portland, to your knowledge?
There is not a lot of large companies. There's a small hotel industry base in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, it's small businesses.
Business-wise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But you did go to high school in Portland, so you have some personal connections.
Yeah, I went to Titchfield. That's where I went to high school. And I left high school. After high school, I went to a computer college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I changed over and, did business after.
And, and if you fast forward from high school, what happened after that? And, what kind of experiences did you have to, get you into this, corporate mindset where you are now?
So, well, my experience was, my father, he was a manager. And so when I was growing up, I would find myself, after school, because he worked in Portland as well, Port Antonio. So after school, I would go to his office. And that's where I would be so engrossed in what he was doing and what was taking place in the office. So I always volunteer to do stuff around the office. So after I'm finished with my homework, that's what I would do. So it's kind of...
And what did your dad do? Like he was a manager and
My
what type
father
of?
was a manager at the National Water Commission.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're very interesting. I mean, so you were analyzing or looking at water from
Yeah,
way back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you've gone from public water, private water. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
So, and what type of manager did your dad do then? And I mean, what did you learn from your dad maybe during those years?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot of things. It was just natural because I was around that, and like even staying under his desk while he was having meetings. I did that because I was so curious.
How old were you back then? Or
12.
Okay.
Yeah, 13. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're just listening and
yeah.
picking up on things.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And what was those years were some of the happiest years of your life?
They were. They were. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I found that like at my age, while everyone was interested in like what 13-year-olds or teenagers were interested in, I was not. I was actually interested in the office work
kind of
and
business work.
and what was.
Did you do any like I don't know, summer jobs or internships with NWC or in your early
because
years?
I was
or?
hanging around. I mean, during the summer I used to work there as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during that time, whether it was high school or say your college years, did you do any summer jobs or internships that really helped further you?
I did a whole lot of volunteer stuff. I mean, I remember I was always interested in doing something, but it was always around where my father was. So
yeah. Okay. So he was a real significant mentor to you.
Yeah, he was.
In your
he
career.
was in my early years. Yeah.
And what's the biggest thing you got from him? What's the biggest thing he taught you?
I think he was a good leader, and I think I got that from him. Yeah.
Any values from him that you really push into Lifespan today?
To be proactive, because sometimes we come up with ideas and we talk about stuff, and Jamaicans love to talk about stuff, but we never really put them into action. So I think that I got from him because if I say something or I think something, I make it happen. Yeah.
That you got from him. That's
Yeah.
great. And from your mom?
My mom was she was the quiet, calm person, and I got that from her as well. So I am always calm, steady. She was the steady person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of the household.
Of the household. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, are there any siblings in Lifespan today, or any siblings at all?
My sister.
Okay.
My sister's there. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just anything that you picked up, is your sister older or younger?
No, she's younger.
Okay.
I'm actually the eldest daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say, is it a really family, enterprise or business?
It's very family oriented because, starting the business, with my husband, and then he brought in his brother, and then, I brought my sister, and yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's amazing, Nyana, is that you've really been all over the world, in your education. You've been in Europe, you've been in the United States. Tell us some about that.
Well, I'm self-taught. I like to say that I'm self-taught. So I'm always interested in learning. So after going to college in the U.S. and then completing university in the U.S., after working, and I'm always taking these courses because I have so much interest and I want to know so much more. So I've always gone after just learning. So, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I decided that even though I'm in business, I'm going to pursue law. That's what I did. So
And was it that you did throughout your education career, you did a bachelor's degree and a master's, or what
Yeah,
did you do?
first I got an associate's degree in business management. Then I got a Bachelor of Science degree in business administration. And then instead of going for my MBA, I went for LLM.
Okay.
So I got a master in law,
In law.
which is international trade law, really.
Did you ever practice legally? Or
I have not. I have
you have
not.
not? Okay.
No. I think the knowledge for what I'm doing is actually more valuable.
And in hindsight, what I always like to ask is, you're in the business side, the corporate side, the practical side.
Right.
In hindsight, would you do the education all over again?
Yes. I think it has played a role in, in me becoming who I am. Yeah.
So you think the education has been important
It
to
has
get
been
you
important.
where you are today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel about, there's a lot of studies out now that talk about, education is expensive and, university might not be all of what it's cracked out to be.
Yeah, I think what's happening is education is important. But the way it has gone, the direction it has gone where it has become overpriced, I think, it has gone in the wrong direction because it should be affordable. Everyone should be able to educate themselves. And if you're going to price it out of everyone's reach, then everyone cannot get educated.
Right.
Yeah.
And would your dad's years or the NWC though have a kind of reason why you got into Lifespan or as a sector, or what really got Nyana's passion into, say, the bottled water?
Let me tell you, I mean, I've always loved water. That's my drink of choice, since I was very small.
Not sodas or
no
juices?
sodas, nothing like that. I mean, I will take a sip of Pepsi now and again when I was little, but that was it. But really, water was my first choice. I don't even drink fruit juice.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'll have the fruit. I'll eat the fruit. But yeah.
So you're not one of those persons who, coffee very early and then a Pepsi right after, and maybe 3-4 Pepsis for
No
the day.
Pepsi, but I can tell you, I have coffee and I have tea right throughout the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And we take our first break on Business Live Extra. We're talking to Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Water Limited. We have much more coming up when we return. Welcome back to Business Live Extra. We're talking to Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Water Limited. Let's take a closer look at the business. It's set on land space of over 40 acres with about 7 springs. One of the springs has a flow rate of over 1,000 gallons of water per minute. The company has been growing organically since it began. They have about 30% of the local market. Over the last 5 years, it has grown over 4,000%, but needs a capital injection to scale beyond the region. Let's find out more with Nyana Williams. Nyana, welcome back. You really see your brand, a lot. You see the trucks on the road, you see the brand everywhere,
Right.
even gas stations,
Yeah.
throughout the island, a lot in Kingston, you see your branding, which looks fantastic. Where did it all start? Especially when you came back to Jamaica, did you start right away or did you start in a different field or?
No, I think, the first years, like the first 2 years of being back in Jamaica, that was like research. I was not familiar with the business environment here at all.
So it was research in bottled water?
In bottled water and in how you start a business here in Jamaica.
Okay.
I mean, I just had to invent the entire thing because there was no information that was available at the time.
So did you do like your own business plans and the banks always ask for projections, or did you have to go and hire consultants? Or
No, I did all my own my own business plans, my own projections, the design, everything. I did that myself.
And in the early days, did you find yourself going to like banks or commercial banks and having a bit of heartache, or did you just jump into it yourself?
All right. So we pooled all our savings and we sold what we could to start the business. And we still needed more. So, of course, we're going to go to the commercial banks to try and get more money. But, being a startup, no one was forthcoming. No one wanted to believe in us at the time.
You had to really
So,
focus on friends
yeah,
and family and
yeah.
just
So we borrowed what we
relationships.
could from friends and family, and we started the business. We had a plan A and a plan B. Plan A was we would get the land where we're at now, and build a factory space there and start there. That didn't work out, so we went to plan B where my father had some land, and so we decided to just construct a small building there, about 1,200 square feet out of ply, and a 20-foot container, and we started there. So that was our plan B. So we started there, worked on getting plan A into motion while we were doing plan B, and it was just three of us. We made the product, we loaded it onto our pickup trucks, and the first day, I remember the first day, we went to Port Antonio, and I think we sell about 10 cases the first day, but that week we ended up selling about 100 cases.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in that kind of 1,200 square feet plyboard, you were doing like your admin, your packing, you're doing every single thing.
Yeah,
True entrepreneurial story.
it was all manufacturing in there because
okay.
I had an office at my home, my house. So everything that's admin now, I would go to my office and do that.
But in the real startup phase, what you were calling manufacturing was persons just you were really
we
just
had
packing or
we
labeling.
we had like a semi-automated filling machine, a filling line. So it was manual. So we had to load the bottles on, fill the bottles, cap it, and we tightened and put it in the boxes and all of that. So that's what we did.
When you just said when you went into Port Antonio and you got those whether it was 10 or 100 cases sold, was that when you got your light bulb like maybe this could work or when did you?
Yeah, like I knew that it could work. What was the factor that would have held us back would be capital. But I said, listen, let's just start. So we started. And, when persons were not that receptive in the beginning, but as time went by, every week it got better and better.
But
Yeah.
in the startup phase, who was a market leader at that point in your mind or in your assessment?
Catherine Speak.
Was Catherine Speak at that
Yeah.
point? Okay. And your concern about the market being receptive was just because they only knew Catherine Speak at that point?
Yeah, and everyone would tell you that, you're a new brand, we don't know anything about you, so, to get shelf space, you have to be doing this and you have to be doing that. And what you're talking about will take a whole lot of money, and they're talking about marketing.
So how'd you sell the cases? Did you have to personally go to whether it was wholesale supermarkets or you just parked up a truck and sold?
No, we had to go to, we went to corner shops, we went to supermarkets, gas stations, we went to everywhere. And we just went in and spoke to the purchasing person, told them about the products, and convinced them to buy it.
Okay,
which
so you just went knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Okay, and tell us more about your light bulbs. When was the next kind of whether it was a big sale or something else happened that you said, wow, this, this can really work. This can really make money.
So we realized that, the pickup trucks were not going to do it. It was just, they were too small because the demand for the product just kept growing. So we decided we wanted to buy a truck. No, we went to the bank and they would not lend us the money to buy the truck, because the company is new again. But they said, okay, I can give you a loan for, in your personal name.
Oh, because they want like a personal guarantee.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So my husband was the person who got that loan. So we purchased one of those Chinese truck, the 3-ton, 4-ton. Yeah.
Right.
So now we had the truck and we had the 2 pickups. And I mean, that just bolstered our sales. So our sales just went up with that 1 truck and 2 pickups.
That truck at the time was just doing Portland, or it was now starting to branch out into other?
Yeah, it started to branch out because now we got our first big sale in Ocherius. And I remember this is my first experience selling 150 cases of water all at once.
Okay.
And there was this customer, and we were so happy, so excited to be selling this amount. And she ordered the first 150 case. We went and we delivered. it was supposed to be a COD.
Oh,
It didn't.
was that you prospecting her or her business, or did she just hear about the brand or the
She
business
heard
and she
about the brand
contacted you?
and she
Okay.
contacted us. So she ordered the first 150 cases. We delivered, and she called back to say it was done in one day. So we
Okay.
had to go down and deliver another 150 cases. But the thing is, when we went, she was supposed to give us a check. We didn't get that check initially.
So now your
Yeah.
receivables,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
good
So
entrepreneurial fund now.
right.
starts-
So she said, "Listen, the product, just went like that. So you need to bring another truckload." So we went the next day and we brought the truckload, but we didn't unpack it this time because we said, "Listen, we need to get paid," and we ended up not leaving the other load of water because she didn't pay us, and that was my first lesson, huge
In-
lesson.
Mhm.
Because we were very small and we just gave away 300 cases of water, which we didn't get paid for.
Did you end up getting paid for it?
Eventually,
Okay.
20% less, eventually, but it took some time.
So you're getting into the accounting and the receivables and your operations.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And what other light bulbs you had, or how did the whole manufacturing evolve, and the fun times of just trying to build up capacity in the early days?
We saw where this could really be something because we realized that, going into, we know what the pH was, but we didn't realize, how major the water being alkaline was. And when I discovered that, after doing a whole lot of research and persons from overseas who came to Jamaica and actually tried the water and they realized that it was naturally alkaline, they were saying, you should be marketing that. So that was like the next big light bulb moment for me.
Yeah, because the major thing you market, or I know that one of the big things is the alkaline and the
Yeah.
pH level, and what's that for lifespan? It's
Yeah, because you have there's a scale, the potential for hydrogen scale,
right.
and it goes from 0 to 14, with 7 in the middle being neutral, anything above 7 being alkaline, anything below 7 being acidic. So yeah, when we measured lifespan was actually between 7.9 to 8.4. It was ranging back and forth. Yeah.
And that's a part of your major marketing
Right, it
selling
is.
point and health,
Yeah.
which is different than, say, some of your competitors
Right,
out there,
right.
or most of your competitors.
And what we have found is that since we started marketing, the fact that our water is naturally alkaline, a lot of other brands have came on the market and they have been putting alkalinity on their labels as
That's the
well.
thing. So
Yeah.
that was a part of your major. And roughly, when did you start doing that? Was that right out of the gate you started to?
Not right out of the gate, but maybe about 2 years after. Yeah. So in about 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you start really expanding the whole footprint, out in Portland? Whether it's your manufacturing, your administration offices.
Yeah.
You got the
So-
business going 2005.
2005.
And when did
We
you?
actually, 2005 was all experimenting because we set up this production line, and we were testing and doing, all these. But as a matter of fact, we didn't start trading until 2006 June 2006. Yeah.
Okay.
So we actually started trading in 2006,
Mm-hmm.
and we started out in Portland, but then we gradually branched out on the North Coast, and we built out the North Coast over a number of years. So even though Lifespan was around for a while, like on in the fifth year, nobody really knew about Lifespan because we were mostly dominant on the North Coast,
On the
Portland
coast.
and the North
Right.
Coast. Yeah.
And when you're the great entrepreneurs, great brands, they always have their ups and downs. I mean, whether it's your early years or, even if it's by year 5, year 7, where there's some very sleepless nights or months where you
Well,
thought this
can I
wasn't
tell
going to
you?
work.
My husband and I, we did not collect a salary from Lifespan for the first 7 years.
Okay.
He had another small business where we got, or
Some
yeah,
income, right?
yeah, some income. So we were able to kind of live off that, the basic necessities while we pursued lifespan. So we just, invested everything back into the company.
And it, yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd say that's really paid off, with that amount of equity
It has,
or
because
time equity.
where we're coming from, 3 employees to 160 employees.
And that's full and like part-time employees now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how big would you say is the, going from just, 1,200 square foot, as you said, of ply, a kind of small line, how big is your line today? Or,
well, let me
or
tell
your
you,
throughput?
we moved from Plan B to Plan A in 5 years after, in 2010.
Okay.
So we actually built out initially at 9,000 square feet warehouse in 2010, and we have actually expanded on that. So
how big is the warehouse today, or like the footprint overall?
Today it's about 40,000 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all, indoors inside 40,000.
Yeah, offices, administrative offices, warehouse space, production area.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're almost like 35 to 40 times where you were 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yeah.
In terms of space. Amazing.
Yeah.
And we take another break on Business Live Extra. We'll find out what's next for Nyana Williams when we return. Welcome to Business Live Extra. We're talking to Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Water Limited. She has created a successful water business in a parish plagued by water problems. On the east coast of the island, Portland used to be known as a rainy parish, surrounded by the Caribbean Sea and blessed with rivers and waterfalls. Still, it has suffered water shortages caused by lack of infrastructure for many years. Just a few months ago, the government announced it's investing millions of dollars to upgrade water systems to meet growing demand. Last year, the parish was hit hard by drought as climate change has altered the rainfall pattern in Portland. Let's hear more about this now with Nyana Williams. Nyana, as one of the big, business owners in Portland, you're perfect to talk to about it. There has been talk of more and more infrastructure development in Portland, and there has been some. And you have a beautiful property. That's where your product comes from, Lifespan Water.
Right.
And you have the springs. I mean, does it impact? I mean, has any of the infrastructure projects or anything there impacted, any of your natural products?
No, because in Portland, there's an abundance of rivers, springs. Water is everywhere in Portland. There's no shortage of water. Even when there is a drought, there's actually water. It's just that persons don't have access to it because we don't have a proper distribution system for domestic water use.
Okay. So if it's not impacting necessarily the product, the environment, and Portland is known for abundance of water and so forth. What are some of the things you think really can be done? Whether it's public sector-wise, government, just for the parish to improve, so everybody can get more water down there.
And I think where the government stands as far as domestic water supply, they need to put more infrastructure in place to have a proper distribution system. And that's the main issue that Portland is faced with, a lack of a proper water distribution system.
And what's it like being a leading business in a parish like Portland? Do you find whether it's residents or stakeholders look up to you a lot as a CEO? Will they visit your company or business, or see you passing by, and will they raise concerns about certain things in the parish?
Well, I recall there was one summer when there was a drought, and a security guard said to me, "How is it that your trucks are passing and you have water and we cannot get any in our pipes?" And that was a valid question. But the thing is, we still had water on our property, and there was still water in the rivers and still water in the springs. Again, the reservoirs that the public water system relies on, those were empty, and that's not because there wasn't any water, but because the system that they had was not equipped to ensure that there was sufficient water to supply
Do you view it as more of it's an infrastructure issue? It's
Yeah,
making
it's
sure
more
that there's
of
more running pipes
it's
into.
more of an infrastructure issue, even though there is an issue with the environment as far as global warming, which has altered our entire global environment. There in Portland, there's still an abundance of water because there's a minimum rainfall of 77 inches of rain every year in Portland, and that's mostly in the Blue Mountains. And where does all that water goes? It seeps into the mountains and it travels in on underground aquifers and flows out into little outlets. Those are what we call springs.
Right.
Yeah. So there is water.
Interesting. And how much of it, we see the government now really, speaking a lot more about climate change, the environment, these things, I guess, have, green bonds and these different topics, it is a
Right.
lot more on the agenda, or,
Yeah.
you do see it more. Do you find that the persons will reach out to you, or do you find that you can lobby for the benefit of persons in Portland?
Yeah, I mean, I have been contacted by, I've always filled out the surveys by the World Economic Forum on issues like these. And, environmental sustainability is very important to me personally as well as to Lifespan.
Yes.
So we have actually positioned our company as a sustainable company, and we are looking at different ways, on how to ensure that we sustain our environment. So whether that's in our packaging, and we have actually gone solar. We're getting 30% of our energy from solar. And
Did you put is it panels? Did you put it on say the roofs, or you did it almost like a solar farm?
yeah, it's like a solar farm
Okay.
that we created. So it's not on the roofs. And so that farm supplies us with 30% of our electricity requirements. And then we have actually just engaged a company that has supplied us with a turbine generator which uses LNG. And again, that's clean energy. And therefore, we will be like zero reliance on GPS, which
Okay.
is, dirty fossil fuel.
And
So-
so it helps with clean energy, and it also it's helping on a cost basis as
And
well.
cost,
You find?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So that will actually reduce our energy cost by 50%.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay. So helping on both counts.
right.
Okay. And do you find? I mean, what's Lifespan's kind of corporate social responsibility? Do you have that in place at this point in time, or do you want to develop the company more before you?
No, we have actually, even though we were small, I mean, we're medium now. We have always engaged in corporate social responsibility. So we engage in a whole lot of health initiatives and community initiatives, because we're actually supplying consumers with a healthy product. Lifespan means that we want to give our consumers, something that will maybe give them more life. Yeah.
And that's a great point. Is what exactly does Lifespan mean? Which you just mentioned, and
Longer, more life.
and who came up with the name? Was it your baby, your invention? Was it your husband's? Was it a joint effort?
It was a joint effort, but my husband was actually the person who said the name Lifespan.
Okay.
Because we were traveling one day and we were trying to come up with different names, and I was telling him what I wanted. I wanted to water his life, and he came up with the name Lifespan, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the name. Yeah.
Okay. And is it what was it really the whole alkaline that made you feel like you could go up against Catherine's Peak and get some market share, or was it what really gave you that? Because as you mentioned, probably many commercial banks or many financial institutions or many friends would even probably say no, they're so dominating. But what gave you that charisma?
Right.
And energy to
bottled
go up?
water was being sold in Jamaica, not on a large scale at the time, but there was Catherine's Peak and there was a purified bottled water brand. And I think there was a few others as well, but they were not that known. And when I looked at it, I said, okay, so there is obviously a market for bottled water. You know, at the time, it was like water was in abundance in Portland, so nobody's going to buy into bottled water in Portland because it wasn't that popular in that parish at the time. But when we started, you know, we got a whole different, you know, realize, it was just, you know, persons were very receptive to bottled water. So, and it was just not any bottled water. It was a Portland bottled water. It was naturally alkaline.
And, you know, flashing forward to now, 2020, 15 years later, do you look at Portland as almost, you know, some companies, you know, you look at St. Mary and sometimes they say, okay, this is JP country or Jamaica Producers country, or you see billboard signs. You see it in other, you know, parishes around Jamaica where a company almost adopts it. You know, do you feel like Portland now is it lifespan country?
It's lifespan country, definitely lifespan country.
Do you do some marketing or?
Like our sign, you know, by the main road to show that lifespan is that way. It says, welcome to lifespan country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you, I mean, does Lifespan now do a lot of, whether it's community sponsorships or sports or?
Yeah, we do a whole lot of sponsorships. So we do sponsor sports, community events, just about education. Yeah.
And how do you view the product? Do you view the product as, you know, it's for everyone? Do you view the product as a premium product? I mean, how do you really, you know, view the product as a bottled water kind of category segment?
I would love for everyone to be able to consume Lifespan because, you know, I consider it a health enhanced product. So it will enhance your health. And
so it's good for everyone.
It's good for everyone. It's good for everyone. But of course, you have to have the necessary education about what healthy water means. So not many persons will know what consuming a naturally alkaline water means for them. So, yeah.
And what's your outlook for kind of the water industry, I call it, or more specific, the bottled water industry?
Well, you know, consumers are becoming more health conscious, and you find that the bottled water market continues to grow, and it will continue to grow.
Back to Portland, you know, is there anything specifically, you know, like almost like KPIs, or is there any big targets where would you love to see the parish, you know, get to in 5 or 10 years, or you know whether it's infrastructure or anything else? I know everyone has talked about tourism, but it just seems not to be happening, unfortunately.
Well, to create jobs for Portland, I think we need to empower more persons to become entrepreneurs, because I think you know, persons can use their talent to earn.
But what sector?
There's no specific sector, I believe. I think it's actually for them to, because I don't think you can teach entrepreneurship even though it's being taught in schools now. I think what we need to do is develop talents, and I think it should start from early childhood. You know, we are taught to become a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, but we need to teach children that they can actually develop their talents and, you know, make it some, you know, a living out of it.
Is there anything you've come across, as I said, by being a resident and, you know the persons well down there, is there anything that has really jumped out in Portland? You know, North Coast, you know, sea, sand and sun. And so we see what happens there, you know, Kingston by the port. We've seen Kingston Wharves take off.
Yeah.
I mean, Portland, your business has done very well, and Lifespan, credit to you. But as I said, you're taking advantage of the water.
Yeah.
Is there anything in Portland when you really talk to the residents that you think we're missing or we're not taking advantage of?
We need to develop farming a little bit more.
So you think agriculture is where jobs could be?
Yeah.
Do you buy into the concept that it's the lack of roads and airports are still holding back tourism in Portland?
Those are infrastructural.
Or just infrastructure issues overall?
That can be fixed. I don't think, those are the real issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then those, whether it's tourism, agriculture, it could create more jobs in Portland.
And, you know, and not just for Portland, but for the entire Jamaica, I think, you know, if I were to be a mayor.
I like it though.
Yeah.
You got a sparkle. It looks
Yeah.
like maybe you might want
Yeah.
to be the mayor.
No, I don't want to be the mayor.
Not today,
Not
but
today.
in the future.
I don't know about the future either, but
Okay.
you know, but if I were to be the mayor, one of the things that I would want to focus on is the environment and littering. We really need to educate our citizens about, you know, recycling and how to dispose of our garbage, because too many times I've seen garbage just lining, and it doesn't matter what type of garbage; it's just garbage. So
is that mainly in the kind of, you know, roadways overall, or mainly in the town, or you're just speaking overall in Portland?
Overall,
Okay.
even in, you know, like even on the beach, we have had beach cleanup, and the amount of, you know, like plastic that we
garbage.
pick up, yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right. So Mayor Williams. All right. And we take another break on Business I Have Extra. We'll talk about expansion plans for Lifespan Water with Nyana Williams when we return. Welcome back to Business I Have Extra. We're talking to Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Water Limited, a leading provider of bottled alkaline spring water. Lifespan has around 30% of the local market share. The company has been going for 15 years and employs more than 100 people. It currently exports to some Caribbean nations. The husband and wife team have their eye on the US and other Latin American countries, as well as Europe and the Middle East. Let's find out more about how Nyana Williams plans to do this. Nyana, welcome back. You know, you've mentioned, you know, big expansion plans for the company. I mean, you're already in some regional, you know, countries
Markets, yeah.
and markets. Which countries are you in right now in the region or exporting to?
So we're in the Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands. We're in Bermuda,
Okay.
Barbados.
And do you do those kind of on your own or singularly focused, or do you kind of do them through partnerships or distribution arrangements
Well, we have distributors in those countries,
in them?
and we
And-
supply them.
And then you supply them directly?
Yeah.
Have Lifespan. And was it hard to crack into, or was it something that based on where you got the brand to, people kind of started to come to you?
Well, initially, because we, for example, Grand Cayman, the Cayman Islands, we have had that distributor for quite some time now,
Okay.
going more than 5 years. And it was difficult in the beginning because, you know, we're a new brand, nobody knew about us. So it started out small, and it gradually grew.
Grew.
Yeah.
And you know, is that turn out to be very good now, that because you're having the foreign currency, say receivables, or you're getting paid in, say, probably US dollars in most cases?
Yeah. For that, it's good, but we want to have more of that.
More of that.
So, yeah. So
And if you can share, I mean, do the exports make up, you know, more than 20% of your sales, or,
no, it
or
doesn't.
less?
It
Okay.
doesn't. As a matter of fact, yeah. It
So you really
doesn't.
wanna
So
grow
we
that.
want to grow.
For
Yeah.
that one forward. And what's it like, you know, in certain industries which are, you know, viewed as inelastic, you know, bottled water, if you have a strong brand, I mean, persons are going to drink water.
Right.
I mean, have you been hit by COVID-19 like a lot of other companies, or not as badly in terms of your sales, you know, falling
well,
off?
we have been affected because, you know, we had to experience a partial lockdown, and that meant, you know, deliveries could not be made. It means customers could not go in to purchase as they normally will do. So we were affected as a result.
In your case, how come you had to have the partial lockdown? Was it more for the safety of the staff and the social
well,
distancing?
the partial lockdown was not for us, really.
Okay.
But it was the channels that distributed our water are sold to our consumers.
Oh, they
Yeah,
had difficulties.
They had
Okay.
difficulties.
Because the supermarket stayed open, or the essential thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So even though they stayed open, you know, like at one point they were letting in 10 persons at a time. You know, there were
Okay.
certain hours.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. And you've opened a Kingston location,
we have.
you know,
have.
on Arden Road.
Yes.
And has that been a hit? And
It has. It has.
Good.
The focus out of that outlet was to distribute the 5-gallon size, which is the, the big bottle that you put on the dispenser. And so we actually started that, and that has been very successful. We are even making home deliveries in Kingston.
So the 5 gallon is it targeted for businesses or home deliveries, as you said, or is it both?
It's both.
Markets?
It's both. It's both because well, offices are not really back open up fully as yet, but normally we sell to the offices as well as.
And does Lifespan outsource that, or is it something that you're doing as a direct kind of channel strategy now?
We're doing that directly.
Okay.
We are. We do have other distributors in other parts of the island that does that for us as well.
And do you find that it's working out so far? It's an exciting kind of new move by the company.
Right, and it's working out, and we have seen it trending up, so it's looking.
And in a way, you get to control your own destiny, which a lot of the large companies, even distribution companies, they kind of. When you look at them, whether it's probably with Cinco, Grace Kennedy, or even globally, sometimes they do it outsourced, sometimes they bring it back in, then they go back outsourced. It's always a battle, back and forth.
Yeah, but we do a whole lot of our distribution ourselves, but we also use distributors as well.
Okay, that's great. That's good. And what do you see really, going forward? You have your home deliveries, you have your business deliveries. You have your plant working, your brand is strong and growing. What's the outlook for Lifespan now?
So we're looking at, maximizing our exports. Well, everything has changed since COVID-19, so we have to relook at how we're doing business now. And but the future plans is to really expand into markets outside of Jamaica.
And the COVID, if you look at COVID, I mean, yes, it's impacted everybody. We've seen let's say in the private sector, or just say business, a company like Mothers has actually closed, for a period of time. Hopefully, so it's impacted, food and beverage, tourism has closed, many layoffs. So it's impacted. BPOs have been impacted, so a lot of companies are impacted because you have these, heavy. HR costs and leases and the revenue, and nobody knows if the revenue will go back to 100 cents, or it might just be 20 cents, 40 cents, so forth. But in the bottled water side, I mean, have you seen a revenue fall off as much as
there has been a revenue fall off
or demand fall off?
Yeah, it's not a demand. Well, yeah, it's more of a demand. Or is it? No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we have seen also a demand for the bigger sizes.
Has actually maybe kept flat or upticked.
Right.
Okay.
So,
and what do you think that is? Just maybe people looking for better bargains, you mean?
Yeah,
and trying to be more cost conscious?
consumer
families
spending.
are home.
Yeah, families are home now.
Okay.
So they're going in to buy the bigger bottles so it can serve for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just less people commuting now. There's less people on the road.
On the road, yeah.
Yeah, going. I see what you're saying. And your products are in gas stations as well.
Yeah.
As I said earlier. Yes, that makes sense. So right now is your strategy just to, you just got to battle this out.
Right, and that's what we're doing. We have looked at everything. We have to change our entire outlook for 2020 now, going into 2021, and so we have basically revamped all our plans and just putting a new plan in place. Yeah.
Is it tourism sector a large component of your business, or not really? You're more.
Not really. It's a small part, but not
really. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
For the time being.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, if we assume things will get back to normal eventually, what's really Lifespan's kind of 3 to 5 year plan? Where do you want to take Lifespan to as a CEO, the shareholder of the company?
All right. So Lifespan will become a global brand. So that's what we're looking at, and within the next 5 years, Lifespan should be there.
And if you break it down for us, global meaning you want to be in more Caribbean countries as well as
other countries outside of the Caribbean.
You want to be outside the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Okay. So you really want to get your product outside the Caribbean as well. Okay. How are you going to do it?
Well, we just have to get distributors in all these other countries and, put a partnership together with them for them to distribute and market the brand.
And do you see? Do you think you'll have your plant in Portland long term, Nyana? It's an important.
It's a very important part of who we are. It's a Portland brand. So we expect that we will stay in Portland. We will remain in Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what are the key things that you think you'll have to be able to do or deliver to get more global in the coming years?
Well, we have always maintained the quality of our brand. So the product, where we emphasize a lot on quality, and as a result of that, we actually got we just won an award, which is an international quality award, where we were awarded the Grand Gold from the Monday Selection, which is the International Quality Institute out of Belgium. Yeah, so that's like a really big thing for us.
And what does so that award that you just won, it's specifically for like what type of quality that lifespan?
Well, the
produces?
taste, the composition, and the packaging.
The packaging. And the packaging is really is it your labeling, or is it actually the bottle?
The bottle
and the labeling?
the label.
Okay, even to the cap as well too.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at our bottle, and I don't have one right here, but it's at the top of it there is a little mountain, and then at the bottom you see a little S, which is the flow coming from the mountain, and then at the base of the bottle you see some waves, which is the stream, or the water flowing into a stream.
Okay. So it's almost like you've done it kind of running down into like spring, etc.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I mean, how many different kind of bottles, how many different, just overall call it, whether it's SKUs or products do you have now?
SKUs. So so we have 5 different sizes currently. So we have a 340 ml size, which is the very small, which is like a glass of water. And then we have the 500 ml, which is 2 glasses of water. And then we have the 1.5 liter,
right,
which is 6 glasses of water.
Right.
And then we have the 5 liter. 5 liter is like the equivalent, it's 1.2 gallons of water.
Right.
And then we have the 5 gallon, which is 18.9 liters of water. And that's the one that you put on the dispenser.
To do, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And, do you think, with all of this potential crisis, now there will be lots of opportunities, of course, and lifespan, you're a high energy person, lifespan seems a high energy brand. Do you think maybe it might be a time where lifespan can do acquisitions in the marketplace, or is that not necessarily on the agenda?
No,
for
that's,
right now?
I mean, a business has to grow. There's, life is about progression. So as a business progresses, it grows, and that means for it to progress, then it will have to look at diversification. Yeah.
And would you, in your strategy overall, would you look at maybe having different water brands, similar to how, Nestle has a lot of different water brands, or do you want to just stick kind of in your lane and have lifespan as your brand?
I want, our core product is naturally alkaline spring water. So we want to stick with the naturally alkaline water. We'll probably look at other products that will complement naturally alkaline spring water, in the healthy segment.
So stick in that healthy niche overall.
Right.
But really keep on the lifespan brand.
Right.
Not necessarily different brands.
Exactly.
Okay. That's great. Well, Nyana, thank you for joining us, and keep on doing you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. That's it for another edition of Business Live Extra. Our guest this week has built a water bottling company from the ground up. We've been talking to Nyana Williams, CEO of Lifespan Water Limited. Don't forget, you can watch us online at cvmtv.com/videos/Business Live Extra. Thanks for joining us.